And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kpush podcast. How are we doing? How's everybody's day going, by the way? How's everybody's day? Because apparently, a little birdie told me that I got some viewers. I got some nice views on the last episode. It is Sunday. It is 4 days after we posted the last episode, and I got 257 views. And what I'm a little confused about is I couldn't have cared less about about that episode. There's not one episode out of my, what is this? This is 187 out of my 187 podcasts that I've ever sat down and ever talked shit into a microphone. I would have promised, I would have bet money, I would have bet my mother's life that last week's episode was not going to be the first time I actually saw a gain in viewership. It just wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, I was like, guys, I don't care about this episode. We're recording it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you guys are like, perfect. I was like, I don't care about this episode. This is a filler episode. That is why we're just rambling at 3 o'clock in the morning. And everyone said, that resonates with me. Out of the 4 years that I've really tried promos, moving across the country, trying to be more funny, doing stand-up comedy, moving back to Boston, the whole thing, out of the whole thing, last week's episode may have been the number one episode I actually had zero hope for and didn't care about at all. And you all collectively said yes. More of this. I need more of this, please. That's what I would. Hey, waiter, whatever you got right here going, I want some of this. That's what was told to me. And so I'm gonna just try. Look, I got my feet propped up. I'm sitting back in a chair like I did last week. But if I think I'm getting a little too serious, I'm just gonna hop in bed. I'm just gonna get tucked under the covers and get nice and cozy. You know what I'm saying? I might even take a nap. Who knows? I might just start taking naps on the podcast, and you guys might be like, that's it. That's actually better. It's actually better to hear you just snore than rant about Iran. It's just... So I'm gonna try to not care. I'm gonna continue my effort into putting in no effort. That's what this is the goal of this podcast, is to care less. That's the goal of this podcast. We started out this podcast at 17, almost 5 years ago now today, really thinking that we would blow up, trying to be thoughtful, trying to show what the younger generation was going through during the pandemic. And as I've done this longer and longer and longer, I've just come to the conclusion that you guys would like me to just, I don't know, pull Louis C.K. every episode and just start jerking it. I mean, You know what I'm saying? You guys have given me the most weird mixed signal ever. And I really appreciate it. Here's my concern now. Now that I don't know. I don't know what the next viewership of this episode is going to be. I don't know. And to say that I don't care would be a lie. It just would be. Here's my thing. I know that it's probably not going to be as big as last week's episode. It's just not going to be as big because I don't know what I did that week, but you guys really fucked with it. And so all I ask for is not 250 views every week. I'm not going to ask for that. I'm not going to get greedy. But maybe just 50. You know? Just give me 1/5, baby. All I'm asking for is 1/5. Okay? If we can get to a hundo, I'm pleased. But just get it to 50. Because now I got this anxiety that I'm going to be the one podcast man. You know, there was like the one hit wonders. Last week when I was 3 o'clock in the morning, ranting about the big beautiful bill, that was my peak, I guess. I mean, I hope not. I really hope not, but it could be. Just ranting about the big beautiful bill and talking about how not Donald Trump, Joe Rogan forced me into making a podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little confused here. I'm probably made 100 promo videos at one point. I probably spent hours and hours and hours trying to blow up the podcast, and nothing worked. And the one week where I really, truly did not give a fuck, people were like, that's the one, baby. That's the one. So I will continue in this pursuit of not trying for this podcast at all. Nobody seems to like it. Nobody seems to care when I try. And that's okay. It's actually okay. I just need to accept that reality. Okay? I just need to accept that reality and move forward. That's all. So, this is a new era. This is a new era of the Kpush podcast in which I literally am trying to not care. That's you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So I got a list again. I got a list of topics here. It's actually been a pretty busy. It's been a busy couple days. Okay. Since we last recorded, which was again 3 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday night. And now it's Sunday. So I am, it was a nice 5-day break. You'll be seeing this Wednesday, so you'll be seeing this in 3 days. And the podcast scene has started to take up just a little bit too much. You know? It's just a little bit too much. And I think everyone should start following in my footsteps because I got 250 views, baby. So I'm running shit now. You know what I'm saying? I'm running shit now, cuz. I'm the big man. Whoa. Big guy on campus, huh? Yes, that's right. That's right. It's me, babe. It's me, babe. It's the big guy on campus. I got more views than I do episodes. And that yeah. Yeah. And now it's time. Now it's time for me to start swinging dick. Okay? It's time for me to start swinging my dick everywhere. All right? So you better sit down and listen to me, okay? I'm gonna start talking like Nick Fuentes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. Big weeks for podcast. Big weeks for podcast. Okay? I'm not sure where I want to get started. I'm not sure. Here's what I got on the list. Okay? Let me tell you. I came prepared. No. You're welcome. By the way, came prepared. Maybe this is a little bit too much effort. Maybe writing down a couple thoughts, couple topics on a piece of paper that I grabbed off of my fridge. You know? The piece of paper that I grabbed off of my fridge. Maybe this is a little too much effort for you guys, but hey, we got to do something. We can't do nothing. Okay? You know, I can't just like record myself taking a shit. I don't even know how I would get the audio for that. That's mainly the main problem. So once I figure out how to hook up a mic in my toilet, baby, you're just gonna be hearing ASMR of me taking shits. Okay? But until then, you're just gonna have to deal with me trying to talk about something. Seriously though, if you are watching or listening, I greatly appreciate it. Please keep coming around. Please keep sticking around. I know I like to joke and have fun here, but it means a lot that people, after almost 5 years of just randomly talking shit on the internet, some people are are listening, and that means a lot to me. So I want to thank you if you are listening. But here's what I got on the list, and I wanted to start out with one of these two things, and I didn't know which to do, so I figured I would decide in the moment with you guys. Okay? We got Tim Dillon is corrupted. We got Tim Dillon officially bought by and brought to you truly by Kpush Patel. Okay, so we got Tim Dillon being bought by Kpush Patel, and then we got Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens are in a little cat fight, cuz they're a little. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Candace Owens is like, and then Nick Fuentes is like, and it's fun to watch. It's like fun to watch. Can I say that? Oh. Nick Fuentes is a racist who doesn't believe in the Holocaust. Maybe that's true. But can I tell you something? This whole cat fight is a little fun for me. It's a little fun. Okay? And Candace Owens, she's an Uncle Tom, okay, and she hates black people. Hey, that's none of my business. It's none of my business, okay? When you watch a football game, okay? When you watch the football game, you know some of those players are going home and smacking their wife. They're going home. They're drinking a white Monster Energy. And they're just smacking that whole round, okay? But you still have fun watching the football game. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong? I'm not saying you agree per with the wife beating. Some NFL fans do. Okay? That's the other reality. Some of y'all do. Okay? Now, what makes this whole Nick Fuentes, we're talking about Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. I'm going to get back to Tim Dillon, but this Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens thing, it's too much fun for me. It's like too much fun. If you need a little bit of background, I'm going to give it to you, okay? So, if you don't know, Nick Fuentes went on the Candace Owens show. And they talked about a lot of things, okay? Candace Owens brought up Dave Smith about how Nick Fuentes called out Candace Owens on the Nick Fuentes show, talking about how Candace Owens was talking to Dave Rubin, I think is his name, Dave Rubin, and Dave Smith. Or no, it's not Dave Rubin, it's a Rubin. It's a Reuben. I'm just getting it mixed up because of Dave Smith. Oh, fuck. It's a Jew, though, because his last name's Reuben. I know that. Anyways, doesn't matter. Apparently, Candace Owens was talking to two Jews after she got kicked off of the Daily Wire. And Nick Fuentes went on his show, and he was like, why are you talking to the Jews? Why are you talking to the Jews? The Jews. Why are you talking to the Jews? Oh, it's Jewish. You know. Why are you talking to the Jews? Don't you know they're Jewish? They make me a little squeamish. So, he's going off about talking to the Jews. And here's my problem, right? If you're anti-Semitic, if you're truly anti-Semitic, I'm not, by the way. I have no problems with Jews, except my ex-girlfriend. They're... Yeah, cuz, except for that one. There's just one I got beef with, okay? The rest of you are fine. Kind of. Except Netanyahu. He can, he can get in the shower, cuz. Yeah. Oh, it's Netanyahu. He's a Jew. Okay, stop. I'm back. Baby, I'm back. So, if you are anti-Semitic, I'm going to throw this out there. Nick Fuentes. What a fucking funny last name, by the way. Either way. If you are anti-Semitic, you gotta at least appreciate the good juice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't bash people who are talking to Dave Smith, okay? And I don't have a problem with Jews, except the two I mentioned. I don't have a problem with Jews. I really don't. I actually like Jewish women a lot. Some would say a little too much. Some would say a little too much. I like Jewish women a lot. I have no problem with the Jews. Okay? But if you were to have a problem with the Jews, I'm assuming you got a little bit of beef with Israel. I'm just assuming. I'm assuming if you're anti-Semitic and you don't like Jewish people, you probably got a little bit of a beef with a little country called Israel. Okay, right or wrong? Right or wrong? I'm just assuming that. Now, if you were anti-Semitic and you do have problems with Israel, wouldn't you, I don't know, at least hear out the Jews that are calling out Israel? Throwing that out there. Throwing that out there. Now, Nick Fuentes and Dave Smith also have like a weird history. They have like a weird history where Nick Fuentes went on the Dave Smith show about 3 or 4 years ago. And, you know, Nick Fuentes has a problem with Dave Smith because he's Jewish. That's really where the beef lies. That's why Nick Fuentes really doesn't like Dave Smith. And so when Candace Owens starts talking to Dave Smith, Nick Fuentes starts calling out Candace, going, why are you talking to the Jews? Why are you saying that? You're talking to people who believe in the Holocaust. Why are you doing that? And so, sip a Red Bull, hold on. And so, sorry, excuse me. Let's get back to anti-Semitism. So, Candace brings this up on the interview with Nick. And he goes like, hey, man, why do you have a problem with me talking to Dave Smith? Dave Smith shares our same views on Israel, which is that they're not an ally of the United States of America. And Nick Fuentes basically, in a lot of words, but to sum it up, goes, yeah, he's a Jew. And Candace Owens kind of replies with, you went on his show, though, and now you're acting like a douchebag, calling him out, saying that he's not allowed to talk, saying that I'm not allowed to talk to him because he's Jewish. And Nick Fuentes kind of dances around it, being like, well, we stand differently philosophically. Philosophically, as people to people, we stand differently, which he's talking about him being Catholic and Dave Smith being a Jew. And so Candace kind of just ropes up Nick Fuentes a little bit in this like first part of the interview. For like the first 40 minutes, just like, hey man, you can't go on people's show and be like, hey, you're a Jew, come off the show and be like, no one's allowed to talk to that person because he's Jewish, even though that you talk to him. You know? Like, Nick Fuentes can't sit there and be like, why would Candace talk to Dave Smith when Nick Fuentes talked to Dave Smith? It doesn't work like that. Sorry, Nick, if you're listening. Doesn't work like that. That's called hypocrisy. I know he's like a really smart guy. I know people claim he's like a really smart guy who's really articulate and has a vocabulary that a dyslexic person could never. Okay? Fair enough. But you can't be a really smart, intelligent person who's really articulate, but also say points that makes you a hypocrite. Can't do that. No. People see that. And that's sort of what Candace Owens was getting to in the first 40 minutes of the interview. And then the interview switch up and it basically ends. Oh, and the other part of the first half of the interview was Nick just sitting on the Candace Owens show going, why don't you have me on the Candace Owens show? I mean, it's hysterical. Nick Fuentes goes on the Candace Owens show and just repeatedly asks multiple times, hey, why didn't you have me on the podcast? Why didn't you have me on the podcast that I'm on right now? Why? And then Candace Owens goes, well, when we talked about having you on, I said I would have you on later. And Nick Fuentes goes, well, that, whatever. He didn't have a response. And I mean, Candace goes, no. When we talked about having you on, I said I would have you on later, and later's right now. And Nick was just like, yeah, but why didn't you have me on then? And then she goes back and goes over her reasoning, and then he goes, well, I thought you were lying. Well, then Nick, maybe you're not as smart as you claim. You think about that? Fucking dumbass. And through all this, Candace is playing clips of Nick Fuentes screaming at a microphone. And I gotta say this too about Nick, is Nick makes all these very exaggerated points and all these, says all these things where he kind of says it like Tim Dillon would. He kind of says it almost as if he's copying Tim Dillon. But the difference between Nick and Tim is a fat gay guy comedian, and Nick Fuentes is an actual racist, anti-Semitic, white guy who's not a comedian. And not that funny. I'll give it to him. He's a little funny. I'll give it to him. He's a little funny. He's not as funny as me. And I'm not that funny, by the way. There are people on the planet who are a lot funnier than me. Way funnier than me. I'll never be as funny as Joey Diaz. Never. It won't happen. And I'll never wake up and be as funny as Bobby Lee. That natural hilariousness that people like Bobby Lee, Joey Diaz, I would even give it to Patrice O'Neal. These types of comedians who ooze out funny. They can't even help it. I try to be funny. I'm pretty good at being funny sometimes. Sometimes I am. But whatever I am, whatever your scale of funny is, Nick Fuentes is below me. And I have a real hard time with these people who want to say all these bombastic shit on their podcasts, who want to go on and kind of act like Tim Dillon and then claim that they're just joking, where it's no, fine. You want to say that you're funny, you want to say that you're doing all this as a fucking joke, how about grab a fucking mic, get in front of a stage of people, and tell jokes? You want to be fucking funny? How about you do that, Nick? He won't ever do that. Because then he would get, immediate feedback by the things that he's saying by an audience that isn't his own. And he can't do that. No. And then the second part of the interview, a lot of people said that Nick Fuentes sort of won the second part of the interview, and Candace Owens got really emotional. Now, let me tell you what happened on the second part of the interview from my perspective. What happened on the second part of the interview was they got into talking about being Catholics, because apparently they're both Catholics. I say apparently because, I don't know, I feel like part of being a Catholic is like being a nice person, and Nick Fuentes is not. So, so I just find it a little hard to believe, but, I guess that's just me talking. Another sip of Rebel. Now, what happened was in the second part of the interview, they started talking about being a Catholic, and Candace Owens got into the conversation about Nick having sort of these really extreme takes and offensive takes, and he really sticks by them because he doesn't have a family and he doesn't have a wife. Now, I have a couple things about this. Number one, I think it's true. I think Nick would be a lot more reasonable guy. I think he'd be a lot more approachable guy. I think he would drop some of this more extreme shit if he had a wife and kids. That's true. That's true for a lot of people, by the way. A lot of people who have a lot of hate in their heart don't have a lot of love surrounding them. A lot of people who have a lot of hate in their heart aren't surrounded by people who care about them, people who depend on them, and more importantly, people who just are occasionally checking in. And Nick even kind of talks about this in the interview. He talks about that a little bit, that he doesn't have a lot of friends, that he can't really get a girlfriend. And he sees that as like a noble take, like a sacrifice that he's willing to make that no one else is. And I think I think it's funny to tell yourself that not believing in the Holocaust is a noble act. You know what I'm saying? There's just something about going, hey, you know that Holocaust shit? Yeah, nah. And then to turn around and go, you know what? Damn, man, that's the noblest shit I've ever did. You know what I'm saying? There's just something that doesn't seem noble about it. Now, he might feel that way. He can feel that way. It's a free country. I will say, though, that Candace Owens going at a dude's personal life and calling him selfish repeatedly, instead of just taking on the viewpoints that he's giving, seems to be the wrong move. Seems to be the wrong move. Now, here's where we get into this weird, we're going to get into like this weird area, talking about religion specifically. Now, in religion, during conversations, when a religious person talks to you, or when two religious people talk, they're always talking down to you because they think God is on their side. And Candace even makes this apparent. When Candace is talking about, hey, you should get a wife, you should get a family, because that's what God wants. And this is where all the religious people, when they talk down to you, this is why they do this, is because they'll say either what their beliefs, either if they come from the Bible, they come from the religion, or they just kind of feel that way. I don't know that much about Catholics. So if Candace Owens says that it is a fundamental part of being a Catholic that you need to get a wife and you need to have children, I don't know that. I don't know. But it's stupid. This religious talk where you're going to talk down to somebody because you believe that your God says this. But, like, come on. You've never, like, talked to God. What, you got God's number? Huh? You gave him a phone call on Sunday? What, do you talk on Tuesdays? This is crazy. This idea that you absolutely know what God wants. This has always been my problem with religion, and I'm not necessarily against religion. But I do have a problem when a religious person starts to talk down to you because they think that they know what God wants. To me, there is an inherent problem with that logic that lies within the idea that any human being knows what God wants. To me, that's crazy. The idea, and Joe Rogan said this on his podcast one time, that will forever stick with me. You could never in a million years teach an ant how to work the iPhone. Couldn't do it. Sit in a room for 10 million years, it won't happen. God could never teach you, a human being, how the universe works. If God himself couldn't do that. Now, maybe you can get closer to God. You can get closer to understanding. Yeah, I'm sure ants could figure out how to press buttons on an iPhone. I'm sure that could happen. I'm sure certain human beings can get closer to God, whatever that is. I'm personally coming at this conversation as an agnostic. So I believe that there is some sort of higher power. But I also believe in this atheist belief that religion can cause a lot of problems. And when you're talking to somebody who is racist, who is an anti-Semite, who doesn't believe in the Holocaust, I think attacking him on the basis of religion is inherently a mistake. No matter which way you look at it, I think there's a mistake being made there. But when Candace Owens does this and does go after Nick, which I think was the wrong move on Candace's part, Not because of what Nick said. Nick's response to Candace saying you should get a wife and kids and you're selfish for not, Nick basically just looked at her and was like, you're a woman. You're a woman and you can't tell me what to do. It's not the right it's not the right move I would go for. Personally, me, I wouldn't say that to Candace Owens. He also said a lot of other things, but that was really his first point. You could tell he meant that one the most. And then Candace got a little, emotional. Which, by the way, who knew? Who knew? Did you know? I didn't know. Did you know that if you look at a woman in the face and you go, you're a woman, you can't tell me what to do, they might get a little emotional? I didn't know this. I'm just finding this out. I was born yesterday. Who knew? So, that was basically the whole episode. And depending on if you're a Nick Fuentes fan or if you're a Candace Owens fan, you'll say one completely destroyed the other one. And what was it? Oh, the other funny part I thought about that particular episode was, what was it? Oh, they got into the talk of mixed race marriages. Multi-race marriages. What do you call those? Mixed race marriages? Who gives a fuck? When a black guy marries a fat white girl. Whatever you call that. Whatever you would call that. Whatever the proper interracial marriages. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. So they got into the conversation of interracial marriage. And Nick was like, I'm highly against that. This is where I go, come on. Nick, come on. Here's the problem telling Candace Owens that interracial marriage is bad. All right? Let me tell you. And let me tell you as a white boy really what the problem with this is. Okay? I'm going to tell you. Are you ready? Is that there isn't a white boy on the planet who wouldn't love to just get pegged by Candace Owens, cuz. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that Nick Fuentes wasn't trying to hide his little boner dick. Talking to Candace Owens about how interracial marriages are bad. And that makes the whole thing funny. Is because you know that underneath all that hate, underneath all this bullshit that Nick Fuentes surrounds himself in, Nick Fuentes went home that night and thought about how good Candace Owens smelled while he busted a nut. Come on! You know it's true! You know it's fucking true. That's why this whole thing is crazy. This whole thing is nuts, cuz. Doesn't make any sense. Stop it. Whole fucking idea. Interracial marriages are bad. We all know Nick wants the strap. We all know that Nick would have loved if Candace Owens just busted out a nice 12-incher right in the middle of that interview, okay? Mark my words, if Candace Owens was like, you know what, big boy, why don't you fucking turn around and just take this dick. Come on! You know it! You know it to be true! I'm not lying to you here. This is the other problem. Everybody's like, oh, this is the problem with Candace Owens. She's a racist black person. You might be true. That might be right. But you're leaving out a very important detail. And that important detail is the fact that she's sexy black queen, okay? You know what I'm saying? It's a part of this equation that nobody wants to talk about. That Candace Owens come on. You know it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that maybe, just maybe, you just know that Nick Fuentes would love to see Candace in a little bit of latex. You know? And so when he's going on and on about this interracial marriage bullshit, you're just like, come on, dude. Come on. Knock it off. So this is then Candace Owens. I don't know. I don't really know. I didn't listen to what she said after this. I feel like I didn't really need to be honest. I heard her opinion on the Epstein thing, and that was about all I needed. So here's Nick's response, though, to apparently whatever she said on her podcast. Now, again, Nick Fuentes, everybody.
And above all else, put some respect on my name.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
And I hit the nail on my head at the end. I kind of went off.
He went off.
And I said, look,
he's like, you're a woman.
I was 17. What's your excuse?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got married later than me. You got red-pilled later than me. You became a truth teller later than me. And you haven't gone through a fraction of what I've gone through.
Oh, poor Ben.
And she wants to call me out. That's what she texted
me.
Looks
she
like
goes,
I'm calling you out.
He looks like
and
a
my
Jew.
Response to that
it's kind
is,
of the
bitch,
fun thing.
You have no right to call me. And
Hold
maybe
on.
it's time for you as a woman.
I gotta replay that. Because this is,
and she
again,
wants to...
so after Nick Fuentes complained about how he wasn't allowed to go on the Candace Owens podcast or show or whatever the fuck she calls it. Who cares? And then he gets on the podcast and he's still complaining about how he wasn't allowed on the podcast. And then after he gets off the podcast, this is his response.
To call me out? That's what she texted me. She goes, I'm calling you out. And my response to that is, bitch, you have no right to call me. And maybe it's time for you as a woman to sit down and shut the fuck up. That's me, a man. You want to say, make me a sandwich? Okay. This is me, a man, telling you, a woman, to sit down and shut the fuck up before you call out anybody else. Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm so sick of it. She's got her book, Make Me a Sandwich. That's the book cover. Her book cover is her sitting cross-legged. I'm going to sit... Her book is her sitting cross-legged, make him a sandwich. Okay. You want that, huh? All right. Well, hey, listen, Daddy's home. Hey, a real man is home. I'm pulling up my sleeves. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a man has to say. And make me a sandwich and make it good. Turkey and provolone. Can you handle that? But I did eat last night. Turkey and provolone.
Fat fuck.
That's how I feel. And honestly, that's how I feel about it. Yeah. Make him a sandwich. And then she's going to give me, she texts me on Friday. I'm calling you out. I've had enough of you calling me out. You cannot call me out. 1, you are a woman. 2, you have not gone through a fraction of what I have gone through. You know nothing. I have been on this since 2017, since I was 18 years old. You want to call me out? And that's, honestly, that's the epitome of it all. Before you call out anybody, how about a shred of humility? How about an ounce of self-awareness? Why don't you observe the fact that while you had a contract at Daily Wire, Turning Point USA, InfoWars, book deals, and by the way, because you're a black woman, because you are a semi-articulate black woman, you're like Obama. She don't talk with that Negro dialect. She was a black woman who did the conservative grift.
Dude!
She rode that tokenism doing fucking Blexit for 10 years, making millions of dollars, and then married into a wealthy family, and then discovered there's something going on with Israel.
Oh, look at Nathaniel. He's very upset.
After only everybody started to notice.
He's very
now
upset
you want to
right
call
now.
me out, the OG?
Oh, the OG's
Well, that was your
upset.
first mistake.
Oh, he's very upset. He's very upset, and he not happy. He not happy with the outcome of being a dickhead. He not happy. Oh, look at little Nick. Look what he went through. Oh, oh. By the way, this isn't being bombastic again. And then he's gonna go on all these fucking shows about how, oh, nobody's letting me on. Can you believe nobody's letting me on the shows? I'm not getting on YouTube. That's not how this game works, Nick. And I don't know. This is the problem, right? I don't know anything. But I do know you can't scream into a microphone, shut up, bitch. Screaming. Having a full-blown meltdown. While talking about a black queen. And then expect to get on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's not going to happen, bud. It's like not going to happen. And here's the thing, right? Is like Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, they all, Nick always goes after them, is like, they're not really canceled. Nobody's really trying to shut them down. They're on YouTube. Hey, man, you get to, like, kind of get away with shit if you're a really good person. When you come on here and you're just, screaming.
Through a fraction of a...
Hold on. I need to get that one. Hold on.
But I did eat last night. Turkey and provolone.
Oh, nice.
And make me a sandwich and make it my sleeves. You want to call
right
me
here.
out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a man has to say. And make me a sandwich. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a man has to say.
By the way,
and
he's
make me
single.
A sandwich and make it good.
He's single because
Turkey
he believes
and provolone.
that the Holocaust
Can
didn't
you
happen.
handle
Not
that?
because of
You want to
this.
call me out?
By the
Sit
way,
down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a
he
man
has a really
to
hard
say.
time
And make
dating
me a sandwich
because
and make
he
it
doesn't
good.
like Israel. Not this.
You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what a man has to say.
By the way, he's
And
not
make me a
he's
sandwich
not
and make
allowed
it
on the
good.
Candace Owens show
Turkey and
because
provolone.
Candace is
Can you
scared to have
handle
him
that?
on. right? Not because
You
of
want to
this.
call me out? Sit
'Cause of
down
this.
and shut the
No.
fuck up, bitch.
Yeah.
That's what a man has to say. And make me a sandwich and make it good.
Well, I'm done. I covered it all. He wants that strap-on dick so bad. It's so apparent. I feel bad for him. He just wants that strap-on dick so bad. And Candace isn't giving it to him. And Candace, just the next time you see Nick Fuentes, just pull out your strap-on, okay? And he'll beg, like... he'll beg like a fucking dog looking at bacon. Now, I did not expect that to take that much time. But let's talk a little bit about Tim Dillon. Because Tim Dillon said in his latest episode that he had dinner with somebody from the administration, and he wasn't going to say who, but he said he was going to give clues, and he said he had Indian food, so it's Kpush Patel. Which is funny, but he basically came out and he was talking about how that 10,000 hours of child porn was just child porn, and there's nothing about Bill Clinton in there. There's nothing about Trump in those 10,000 hours. There's nothing about who's the creator of Microsoft? Who's that guy? Isn't he another Bill? Who's the guy? Creator of Microsoft. This is why you can't have a podcast at 21. Who is the guy? Creator of Microsoft. Isn't it? It's Bill something, right? Not Minecraft, you fucking dickhead. I know it's Notch. Shut up. Microsoft. Is a problem? No producer. Bill Gates. There we go. Why did Bill Gates slip my mind? Anyway, yeah, Bill Gates. There's nothing there. Nothing about Bill Gates. Nothing about Bill Clinton. Nothing about Trump in those files. And, I just, some about this Tim Dillon pod felt different. It felt different. He admitted that he had dinner with Kpush Patel. And this was the first episode where it felt like Tim was almost lying to the audience. And that was very, very weird. It was very different. And it also felt like he was hiding something the whole time. And that's not usually Tim Dillon. My one question is, though, did Tim Dillon get corrupted in his workout wear? In Kpush Patel's workout wear? Because Tim Dillon was going off about Kpush Patel not lying to us in a suit and tie. If you're going to lie to the American people about the Epstein files, you might as well wear a suit and a tie. And it really bugged me, and it bugged a lot of people, that you're going to wear athletic wear and lie to me about pedophiles. That's crazy, cuz. That's crazy. You cannot lie about pedophiles while you're wearing Lululemon. It's not going to work. Doesn't look good. Okay? Doesn't look good. What do you want? The nothing about that looks good. And I don't know who needs to hear that. Doesn't look good. So, we'll see what Tim Dillon is going on for the next week episode. I read all the comments. Every single one is, he's corrupted, he's gone, we wish him well. That is the thing, though, with the Tim Dillon community. We wish him well. Tim, we hope that it was more than just a seafood platter. Okay? If it was just salmon, if you got bought over by salmon, I'm going to be disappointed. You better have gotten a new Bentley, a nice little maybe new apartment in Washington. If Tim Dillon is not rolling out in money and he's telling us that the Epstein files are fake and Bill Clinton wasn't on those videos and he's still talking about how he's having conversations with people from the administration, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be disappointed because you told us that your pussy is expensive, and I expect it to stay that way. I expect your pussy to stay expensive, and if your pussy, Tim Dillon, if you're listening, if your pussy's gone cheap, I mean, that is the fall of the country. If Tim Dillon's pussy gets cheap, then there is really no hope. Just letting you know. Just letting you know that if Tim Dillon's pussy's cheap, that's it. Tim Dillon's pussy being expensive was the last hope of this country. Now, maybe it was bought well. Maybe his pussy's being treated nice, cuz. Maybe. But I'm not too confident. I am a little upset, though. I hope Tim is still Tim. Next week, we really don't know. We won't know. Hard to say. But, yeah, man. I mean, he really was, still is, one of the greatest podcasters that's ever existed. So we'll see how far that Patel money goes. You know, I really don't know, though. I really have no idea. It's like you always like watching a dog chase a car, right? But you never like if that dog actually catches the car. That's no good. Because then the dog's probably going to bite the person who gets out of the car, or the dog's going to get hit and run over. And this is that. We always like Tim Dillon chasing after the elites. But once you're in Washington and you're having dinners with Patel, things start to change. Things look a little different. And it is what it is, cuz. But speaking out for all of Tim Dillon's fan base, we wish him well. We wish him well. And I'm telling you right now, if we find out that Kash Patel corrupted Tim Dillon in athletic wear, I'm going to be the next Luigi Mangione. Okay? I'm telling you this right now. If we find out that Kash Patel blackmailed Tim Dillon in fucking Lululemon, I'm going to go Lulu on fucking Kash Patel. Okay? I'm showing up with fucking Luigi energy. Okay? Okay. That's all I got to say about that. What else? What else? We got Tucker. I have to pee. Listen. I got to pee. But we're in a momentum right now. We're in a momentum, and I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop this momentum, okay? Because this is good. This is good momentum right here that we've built over the course of this fucking hour, and I appreciate it. And so we're not going to stop it, cuz. Testing. 1, 2. Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Word. Okay, we're back. So, here's what I gotta say. And yes, I'm gonna be peeing here, so you might hear a little bit of splash in the background. But the reality is, with this podcast shit. By the way, this whole episode we've just been talking about podcasts. Is everybody thinking about podcasts like this, or is it just me? It can't just be me, right? I mean, maybe it is, because now I'm on a solo episode peeing in my bathroom while talking about Tucker Carlson. So maybe. I don't know, though. I don't know anymore. I really don't. Here's what I got to say about Tucker and Flagrant. Tucker Carlson had Daryl Cooper on, and Flagrant, Andrew Schultz, and the other Kash Patel. Kidding. Talking about Akash. I'm going to stand. How about that? I'm just breaking all the rules today because I'm standing. I liked it. Oh my God, I got up to pee and I was like, wow, this is nice. I like standing and talking shit. So here's the thing, right? With this Tucker Carlson shit and more importantly, Andrew Schultz. It's a big problem when you got two big podcasts. Both had Donald Trump on the fucking podcast. And they're both coming out going, with this Jeffrey Epstein shit. Both of them. Not just one, but both. You got two guys who are willing, and I don't know what Joe Rogan has said about any of this yet. I know I probably should, hear out what Joe has to say about this whole thing. But the reality is 3 hours of listening to Joe ramble sometimes can be a bit much. Even for me, who are big Joe Rogan fans, it can be a little much sometimes. And so, I gotta be honest, cuz, with this whole thing, okay? You've never had people who supported a president so publicly and then completely bash him within 6 months of his presidency. This never happened before. Ever, by the way. Nothing even remotely close like this. And I don't know if I said this or not, but Tucker Carlson had Daryl Cooper on, and Andrew Schultz had Fager, never even banged her. I don't know how to say his name. I never will. It's funny. You've never had fucking people who openly supported the president and then turn around, literally complete full 180 and do a switch up. This is going to be interesting. This is going to change some things. What does it do? I don't know. I never do know. What I do know is things are going to get weird. And by the way, to the people who are like getting mad at like Andrew Schultz and Tucker Carlson going like, oh, see, I told you he was a bad guy. I told you he was a bad guy. See, and now you supported him, and he used you. Who's the fool now? Who's like the fool now? Who is it? Who's the fool now? Go, wait, what? What are you saying right now? They're keeping their word. Andrew Schultz and Tucker Carlson, they're keeping their word by sticking with their principles. Okay, unlike Tim Dillon. Come on. I mean, I'm saying here. I am fucking saying here, this is crazy. And so you gotta let, Tucker Carlson and Andrew Schultz, they're gonna make mistakes. Everybody does. But give them props. Don't just be like, oh my God, these guys, they're retarded. What? Why the fuck would you say that? What, you think that's going to encourage people to what? To vote for Kamala? You know what I'm saying? This is the type of shit that causes people to not speak out when Joe Biden is falling asleep while giving a speech, by the way. So knock it off. But this is really interesting, and I don't know how this is going to turn out. Because Jaeger Sager did an excellent job on Andrew Schultz's podcast, breaking literally everything down. And Daryl Cooper did an amazing job on Tucker Carlson breaking everything down. I would say Daryl Cooper probably had a little bit more information than Jaeger Sager. But he was a little bit more all over the place. I would say Jaeger Sager was a little bit more, how do I want to say this? Entertaining to listen to. I think Daryl Cooper is an author, and you can tell. He's a lot less comfortable talking in general, period, than Jaeger Sager. And so I think Jaeger Sager did an amazing job of giving a coherent explanation of all the details. I'm not going to give you all the details about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. I'm just not. Sorry. I'm not Jaeger Sager or Daryl Cooper. But, yeah, man, by the way, I've just been walking around my apartment now. I'm, giving up. I'm fully committed to this. I was sitting on my couch about a couple seconds ago, and I'm just walking around my apartment, pacing. It's actually helping me, think and focus. This is weird. So, I hope you guys like this. This was a little bit longer than last week's episode, about 25 minutes. I do start, trade school soon. I start trade school, and, man, I gotta be honest, I'm a little nervous, because I don't know how all this shit's gonna play out with trade school. I don't know if I'm gonna do well. I feel like, I never do well with school. And I feel like I always have a really bad experience with school, because I'm dyslexic. And, when I was a kid, I really needed a lot of help in school. And it's the American education system, so they weren't really too keen to help me. And, my mom was busy or whatever, and busy getting drunk and partying. And so she didn't really, I feel like, help too much either. So school's always kind of had this bad taste in my mouth, I want to say. And I don't know, man. I'm really nervous about trade school. And, if I'm good enough to really push through and do it, and I guess I have to, right? I'm already signed in. My parents have already paid the money. And so now it's sort of like failure is not an option. It's always one of these things where, you don't really have an option to fail. You can't really just give up. It's not what a man does. But, man, I'm fucking nervous. I'm, really nervous because I'm so used to, I guess, failing at stuff that I like to do now. with the podcast and the open mics and the stand-up comedy and the Along for the Vibes, I'm so used to really failing. And I guess the thing that makes that stuff okay is that I like doing it. I like recording the podcasts. I like getting on stage. I like trying out new bits. I like running Along for the Vibes. But I don't really give a fuck about like electrician shit. I don't care. And so now, everything's kind of gonna change again. Where I'm putting in a whole new situation. And I don't know how I'm gonna do. I don't know how the turnout's gonna be. And I'm nervous. I'm like really nervous. I feel a little lost trying out something new. And I gotta say, man, it's not good when everybody feels lost. I kind of should feel lost, I think, sometimes because I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm doing this podcast. I moved halfway across the country away from my family. Like, I think it's okay for me to be lost. I think I should be lost. But it's not good for everyone to feel like this, man. And I think a lot more people are, like, resonating with these types of feelings. And, man, I don't think that that's a good thing. And I know I'm like, sort of bouncing around a lot. When I get, like, a little bit more serious, I kind of tend to bounce around because that's how my brain works. But yeah, man, I don't know how this trade school thing's going to turn out. I really don't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I did want to talk about this show on Friday too. This the big 25th show, the big free pizza night. I really hope it goes well, man. I really hope it goes well. And Tim Warner told me this one thing one time where he said, not every show you do, not everything you do is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is once a year. You need to figure out what is and what isn't important. And man, I think the last free pizza night was like the wild card. Like, we weren't in the playoffs, but the last time we did it was like surely we had to win that game to get into the playoffs. And I feel like we're in the playoffs now. And this Friday is huge for so many different reasons, because UCB just bought Cold Town Theater, and we don't know what the turnout of that is going to be. And if we don't do well on Friday, I don't know what the outcome could be. And it's given me a little bit of anxiety. I'm freaking out a little bit. And I don't know what I'm going to do afterwards, because I printed 250 flyers, man. If I hand out 250 flyers and I can't get 20 people there, I don't know what else to do. I really don't. And so I'm scared and I'm nervous, but you got to remind yourself that's what makes you brave too. You have to remember that bravery doesn't mean that you're not scared. Bravery means that you're scared to do something that you fucking do it anyways. And you just try to check all the boxes off. That's like all you can do. And so that's, what I'm going to try to keep going. But man, it's tough, and I'd be lying to say if there weren't fucking doubts all around me all the time. And I just, man, I just fucking hope that this shit goes really well. But it's frustrating, right? Because, like I talked about in the last episode, I could see why group members like split up. Like some people aren't working as hard as me. And I bet that includes the worry element too. I don't think that they're worrying as much as me. And it frustrates me because I care so fucking much. To the point where I'm like getting anxiety. I'm waking up and the first thing I can think about is like this Along for the Vibe show I'm doing. So yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I hope it goes well, But you just don't know these things until you do them. And so, I got this show on Friday. I'm going to trade school the week afterwards. And I feel like a period of my life is coming to an end now. Like, I really feel like that. Like, I feel like since I've gotten into the stand-up comedy stuff, there's been, like, different levels. And you don't really know when the levels start or when they end until you're kind of through that level and onto the next one. And, my first level was sort of like moving to Austin, Texas the first time. Moving to Austin, Texas the first time and, trying to out stand-up comedy for the first time and doing the podcast and trying to figure out how to live with roommates and having a girlfriend and trying to maintain your relationships and all that shit. That was like level 1. It was really tough. And I learned a lot. I grew a lot. And then once me and my ex-girlfriend, we broke up, and, she basically kicked me out of the apartment, and I had to move back to Massachusetts to be with my family, and I had to learn a completely new, different stand-up comedy scene. That kind of felt like level 2, in a way, that whole time in Massachusetts. And then level 3 was moving back to Austin and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I did it. I figured out I wanted to go to trade school. I found Along for the Vibes. I brought the podcast back to where it's bigger than it ever was. And that was level 3. And now this level 4 is keeping the podcasts where it's at and maybe even growing it. Going to trade school, trying to figure it out, all while keeping Along for the Vibes. And this next level, man, I think that it might be the most challenging one yet. And that's how levels work. Things get harder as you go on, but you get better. I think that's why people like video games so much, is that a lot of games are sort of like a shortened representation of life. Levels, rounds, different teams, different games. People like that. They see life in that. The conflict, the outcome, the enduring of whatever you're going through, the getting better, the improvement. That's why people like Monopoly. I'm kidding, but at a certain point, it's kind of true. It's like kind of true, right? So, yeah, man, I just hope that who's ever listening, you stick around for level 4. And I can't wait to see what the outcome of that is going to be. But I know things are about to change. And so you never know how to feel when things are changing, huh? You never know. You never know if you should be happy, if you should be sad. You're always wondering, if you appreciated whatever you were doing enough. Hopefully you did. Most of the time you don't, though, if we're being honest. Just as human beings. Yeah, man. I don't know. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. I think that we did an hour and a half. Holy shit. I have no idea how that happened. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you did listen, seriously, I really, really, really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me that people are actually listening to this and people are actually, they want to hear what I have to say. That means more than you could ever fucking imagine. And so I want to thank you. We have an email, kpushpodcast@gmail.com. You can send me an email over there. You can send me an audio transcript. You can just send me a meme, baby. I'm going to leave my email in the description of this for the first time. And, message me. Let me know. Write a letter. Send me a voicemail. Send me a voice memo or whatever. Talk to me. Let me know what you guys think. I want to know. I want to, actually really start talking to you guys. I want to get to a point where we do like live calls, we do emails, we do letters, we do voicemails, whatever. I want to start building on that now that, people are actually listening. But I want to thank you guys. I know I ranted a long time about that Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes thing. I thought that it was fucking crazy, though. And also how much I actually paid attention to it. But, yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much. Really. I really appreciate it. Well, I will catch you in the next episode. The next episode is going to be Joey Cash. So get ready for Joey Cash, baby. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Bye-bye.